Good morning, everyone, and happy to slay. Welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. It is an image consultant service business where I support women and organizations to achieve professional success through image and impact. We're focusing on ABCDs: appearance, behaviors, communications, and digital presence. So if you are here with me today, thank you so much for being with me live. Hey, Leslie, what's happening, my madam? How's everything going? Thank you for being here live with me this morning. We're going to have a great conversation because you're going to be part of it. And I know so many people who are coming in to the page just need a little bit of inspiration. So I'm here this morning because it is Tuesday. And at the beginning of the week, sometimes we need a little bit of something to get us going. And I am doing the most. Okay, y'all. I just came off my workout. I did a 45-minute hidden hills spin ride on my Peloton bike. Then I got on the treadmill and was able to do a little bit more cardio with a lot of heavy lifting. So I am here to slay. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym, and it is for universal life and leadership philosophies that I created because so many things have happened in my life. But the S stands for stay ready to be ready. L, lead out loud. A sense of community, a sense of family. And Y, you are built to last. I am a professional keynote speaker, an image consultant, a personal brand expert, an author of 3 books, and in United States Air Force 30-year veteran. So for all those that come on to the show, thank you so much, because we're going to be talking about how to make a name for yourself. All right. Are you making a name for yourself? And if you are thinking about it, I'm going to give us some strategies. And I'm doing a lot of storytelling because I've got so much to share with you all. And this has been a lifelong journey. Nothing I have done has happened overnight. It is all a day by day, taking it step by step and really understanding who I am and what do I bring to the table. So making a name for ourselves is something that can help us stand out apart from everyone else that's in the crowd. It can also give us that unstoppable confidence that so many people look to and they're like, well, how do they keep their confidence so high? How do they keep their self-esteem so high? And it also is for you to gain lucrative opportunities within the opportunities that you receive. All right. And when you are making a name for yourself, there is going to be resistance. There is going to be adversity. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be people who are going to tell you, hey, we don't know what you're doing. We don't like that. Why? Because sometimes when people see when you're moving forward and they're still stuck in the status quo, that, you need to just stay back with them. And that's not what we're doing, especially if you have something inside of you that you're supposed to be doing. You know your purpose, you know your calling. We just need to step on into it. And I'm going to help us to do that by uplifting the energy, getting you to think about what you're doing. So, last week I was able to meet with the former Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, JoAnne Bass, and she was the first female minority woman to serve at that level. So she was the head of the Air Force on the enlisted side, and she served for 31 years. I went to her retirement ceremony. She's been retired for a few months now. We met for breakfast. It has been a long time coming because we were to meet like 4 years ago and we never really got the chance to do it, but we're now in the same area. And she really made a name for herself. She went out against the grain. She stepped out there. She stepped up. She started speaking up, and it allowed her to serve in that type of capacity. Even when people were like, no, we don't want to have a woman in a leadership role in the military. And so she had to have that mindset. And we were talking through that at the breakfast. And so now I'm like, okay, it inspired me. Our conversation inspired me to come out here and to share with you some of the things that I have done outside of the box, all right, where everyone else, again, was in the box. All right. I started to step out of the box, create opportunities, really showcase my expertise, think about how I wanted to leave this life. Okay. I want to have a legacy. And so when you're at this high vibration, all right, this high frequency where you know you're unstoppable and you know what you're capable of, that's when we rip the band aid off. Okay. We rip it off and we show up. Okay, so this is truly about making a name for yourself, and how does this come to be. So I want to share with you all a story about when I was still serving. So I was at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, and at the time I was serving in the medical operations squadron, and I was a superintendent. So I was the top person, enlisted person anyway, in the squadron. I had my commander, okay, and he was a first time commander. I had probably like 23, 24 years of service at that time. And we were learning each other, and we were trying to figure out how do we work together as a team. And one day, we were in some very heated conversations for some time, and then one day he said, "Hey, you're making a name for yourself." And at the time, I didn't know how to take it. I listened to what he said. I went home that night and I really thought about it. And yes, I was making a name for myself. I started to step up and take on a lot of different things that no one wanted to even touch. And when I started to do that, people knew I was going to show up for conflict. All right. Conflict resolution. I'm pretty good at mediating. I'm pretty good at confronting. Why? Because I had had some previous experiences up to that point. So, when you're being told, or if somebody says, "Hey, you're making a name for yourself," you will have feelings of emotions and maybe a little bit of reflection, and just take it as a compliment. Okay. I want you to take it in as a compliment. And it's a powerful validation of your hard work, your dedication, and your authenticity, especially if it's in a positive way. And that's what we're going to be talking through here. So, you know, when we are doing the work, whatever we're doing, we may be in business, right? We may be in our career. We may be transitioning into our next chapter. When I transitioned out of the military from 2021, I decided, yes, I made a name for myself in the Air Force. I can also make a name for myself in this next chapter. All right. I took the word slay, I used it as my foundation, and then I continue to use it because it is most authentic to me. It is something that no one else, I look around, I don't see anybody else wearing a choker with slay on it. All right. Now, if people decide to do that, hey, maybe that's flattering, but I decided that that's the message that I want to convey to others. And we have to understand that when we hear, "Oh, you're making a name for yourself," don't take it in a negative way. Because at first I did. I was like, what is he talking about? Is he saying it in a way where he's being snippy? I hope not. Right. So I took it in a different way. I was like, hearing that gave me a deep sense of pride. It gave me some signal that made sure that my efforts were not only being noticed, but they were also being appreciated and respected. So, one of the things at that time that occurred was I was being considered for the next position. All right. And that next position was the enlisted person being in charge of the entire clinic. And through that transition, I made Chief Master Sergeant. which is the highest enlisted rank that you can make in the Air Force. And it's also E9. And my flight chief, the flight chief that was assigned to the biggest clinic of the clinic, her father was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. And there would be no one of a higher rank down in the clinic that could take care of all of the medics that were down there and do it in such a way that they will stay afloat. So, in the transition, y'all, this is what occurred. I went into the next position, medical group superintendent. When she left, and it was one of my senior master sergeants, so she was a step below chief, I decided that I'm going to take on 3 different roles. Okay. So I filled in as a medical group superintendent. I was the functional manager. So I was a medic functional manager of the clinic, which means that I'd help people get reassigned to different bases, to different jobs, different opportunities. And I went down and I filled the the medic position down in the clinic. So I had 3 different roles going on at the same time, juggling those. And what I found was I was more than capable of handling that. Years on top of years on years, I was already in the mode of I understand the priorities. I understand that there's going to be people that are going to be difficult to work with. I understand that there are going to be performance considerations. I knew what it took. So I took it on. And when he said, "You're making a name for yourself," I realized I had been built to do these things. All right. So I had a sense of pride. I felt validated because of the achievements that hard work of all those different years were paying off. And it feels like reaching a significant milestone, a milestone in your career, your business. So think about where you're at. And you're always looking at how to grow, how to develop yourself, how to make yourself better. All right. I learned a lot when I was taking on the 3 roles at the same time. I found out where my breaking points were. I found out that I needed to delegate. I needed to create teams of teams. I had to build relationships and connections to people to making sure that they knew where my vision was. All right. So there's a lot that goes into making a name for yourself, and you really have to be intentional. This is not just showing up and just doing the work. You're thinking one step above. How can I make things a little better? And how can I have that sense of pride? Now, there's going to be late nights. Okay. There were a lot of late nights for me, a lot of hard decisions that I had to make. All right. And also, it was just a step by step. I tell you, y'all, I don't know how I came out of some of the situations. Some of the situations I was seeing red. And I know that some of you can relate to that and resonate with that, because when people are like, "No, we don't want to do that," or "No, that sounds crazy," or "No, that is not what we do," and you come up with that, you can have moments of self-doubt. Okay. And those are validated. You're going to have that. You're going to feel, though, a sense of achievement because all that hard work is paying off. Now, the other thing that I found in the moments and now still today is that I was increasing my confidence level. All right. And I had a sense of empowerment. I didn't wait for somebody to come around and validate me. I didn't wait for people to give me permission. I didn't wait to take the initiative. I just found out, like, what did we need to do and how do we continue to strive for excellence? All right, this is not being perfect. I've talked about this several times before, but when you're making a name for yourself, you have to boost your self confidence. What I have been able to do or find out that really boost my self-confidence is working out. And when I was still active duty, y'all, I was a runner. I I used to run my flights, meaning the physical training program. They knew I was taking the lead. I was constantly looking at ways to improve my fitness scores. We had a physical assessment test where we ran a mile and a half, we did push ups, and we did sit ups. Every time I would go to the track every year, my goal was to strive for excellence. And what it took was every day I had to work out or do some sort of um, regiment. My nutrition had to be on point. My rest had to be on point. And I found out that I could really do something about, making myself known through this. And again, some of us, have had some physical challenges. This is not about me like bragging and boasting about, where I was at. I did the work. There nothing that ever came easy for me. I have done the work and continue to do the work. So I would be able to get 100% on my physical assessment test or very close to it in all four components. That means I was doing the push-ups, the sit-ups, and running and the tape measurement. All right. But at the time, I was like, I am a leader. I need to show up and I need to show people it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're still in this work, which I was in the military uniform, and I wanted to represent the military because the military is a brand, this is the way you show up. And so it gave me confidence. It continues to give me confidence. When I get on the treadmill and when I get on a spin bike and when I lift up weights, I am really believing in myself. Like, yes, you could do it. So we have to believe in ourselves. We have to know that others see our potential and it reinforces our own belief in ourselves and it makes us more confident in our abilities. So you also have to be motivated. You can't wait for someone else to motivate you. You have to have intrinsic motivation. What is it that's going to keep that fire in your belly and fuels you to keep pushing those boundaries, keep setting those higher goals, and maybe perhaps challenge yourself a little bit further? It's okay to get out of your comfort zone. In fact, you should be uncomfortable. All right. Things should just be like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I have what it takes to be here. All right. Again, I start in my gym, in our gym, because I understand what being uncomfortable is when I'm doing high intensity intervals. What does it mean? It means that I am pushing myself. Hey, y'all. I don't see everybody's comments. I see Leslie, you're saying, hey, Shaylin. I don't know why I'm not seeing her comments here, but hey, you know what? Leslie, if you can help me out, let me know who's here. And that way I can give them the proper shout out. But you know what? Facebook, y'all trying not to let me be great. All right. I'm going to still be great because I got people in my corner who are going to support me. So thank you, Shaylin, for being here. And hopefully I get to see your comments pop up here while I'm in this discussion, if you will. Okay, now, um, along the way, I have had people support me. Okay, I've had people who have encouraged me, even if I didn't have people in my immediate, right? People on the peripheral were reaching out and saying, you know what? You got what it takes. You just need to keep going. You just need to um, push the envelope a little bit more. Okay. We have you. All right. We know that your intentions are good. We know you're trying to change the culture of the environment for which you're in. It's going to be hard because people, who have been in a certain way for so long, they do not want to see change. It's hard for people to accept the changes. All right. So I felt some gratitude. I recognize my family, my friends, my colleagues, my peers, people who were part of my journey. I remember when my dad was still living and, he did 23 years in the Air Force as well. And on the weekends, I would call him or he would call me and he said, "Hey, how's everything going? What are your challenges? What are you facing this week?" And he would always tell me, "You know what? You got it. You got it. All right. It's a piece of cake. All right. You could do these things." My husband says, small things to a giant. All right. These are small things to a giant. You just need to step into it and just don't worry about all the other things that you can't control. So when you're making a name for yourself, y'all, there will be some resistance. People will be thinking to themselves, you're trying to be more than, what we got going on. And it's not really about that, especially if you're doing it in the right way. All right. Now, there is responsibility and there is commitment to making a name for yourself. A lot of responsibility. All right. So, having that and knowing what you're going to get yourself into, you have to uphold and continue building your reputation. So, yesterday I was on a call with a woman that I just met, and we are kind of essentially in the same industry with our businesses. She supports, young people who are transitioning into college with soft skills like ironing clothes, dressing the part, cleaning up your room, like these things that sometimes people don't feel like, oh, well, they're that important, but these little things start adding up. But she's doing that type of work. And so, it's kind of similar to what I'm doing, which is really helping women professionals take on bigger roles or transition with a personal brand that they can stand behind and get them the opportunities that they would like to get. And so, as we were talking about it, she says, "You know what? Reputation and character, they matter." All right. So, when you're making a name for yourself, you have to understand you are making it for the greater good. This is not about you per se. You're creating a community of people, like minded people, getting into that wavelength and understanding you'll feel like, you're maintaining this standard of excellence. All right. Every person that comes to me, I'm always thinking of how can I serve them really, really well so they can get the results that they are looking for. I'm not haphazardly just going into things, y'all. There's a very conscious and deliberate and intentional effort that I am making because my name is on the line. And when I say I'm making a name for myself, I want to make sure when people say my name in rooms that I'm not in, that it is attached to things that I have specifically been talking about. And this is a huge responsibility and it is a commitment. So I decided, hey, I realize the impact that I have on others. All right. And the importance of being a positive role model while I'm doing it. We have a 14-year-old son. I don't want to ever say, or ever hear that, I hear your mom's out of pocket over here. She's treating people badly. You know, who wants that to be attached to their name? I want goodness to be attached to my name. I want people to think about, okay, the sleigh. All right. Even if they can't remember my name, they remember that I've worn something, with pink on it. Today I got a little splash of pink throughout my coat. And that is my way for me to recognize where I'm at. And I carry a lot of masculine energy. I had to carry a lot of masculine energy while I was in service. I'm trying to soften up. I'm trying to be more compassionate. I'm trying to be more empathetic. I'm a work in progress, y'all. All right. So I am trying my best to make sure that I am, I am being a positive role model for other people. So again, this is all about making a name for yourself. And I'm looking down here because I got so many notes, y'all. I have so many notes. So if any of this resonates with you, let me know. Put it in the comments. All right. Like this is something that you have been thinking of. This is what you're doing right now. Because I feel the joy and the excitement of knowing that I have something personal to me that I can now put out into the world. And when he said, "Hey, you're making a name for yourself," and I started to really thinking about it, I started to really celebrate my successes up to that point. And no matter how big or small of what your accomplishments are, just know that they are the fruits of your labor. All right. You have done some things where people can now attach your name to and saying, hey, and we talked about being the only viable option in your work, in your line of work. So when someone tells you that, it's a powerful testament to your journey. So if anybody says, you're making a name for yourself, we don't know what's going on, just know that it's a powerful testament to your journey. It means being seen, it means being valued for your contribution, your efforts, and they're making a significant impact. So this recognition, all right, you can be encouraged to continue to being authentic, to continue to be driven, to continue to be your dynamic self. And so 3 strategies that you can take on if you're not doing it already is to, one, embrace your authenticity. Now, we have been talking about authenticity for quite a while. It's not a buzzword. I know that people are taking it a certain way, but when I say authenticity, it's just not being it's not just about yourself. All right. Yes, it's a part of it. It's about being your best self. Okay. Your best self. How do you show up? And is it confidently? Is it consistently? All right. When I started out Slay to Success, I was scared as all get out, y'all. I am not even going to lie. I was comfortable being uncomfortable in the military. 30 years. I knew the game. I understood the players. I knew what I needed to do and how to do it. All right. When I launched Slate to Success, I had zero clue of what I was doing. I just knew that I wanted to make some impact in the world in a different way. So when I started out, I was like scared to even get out here on a platform. I'm here live. I'm live streaming on 3 different platforms. Putting yourself out there, I am subject to a lot of backlash. All right. People can come on my pages and say, what are you doing? We don't like this. All right. And so I have to stay encouraged. I have to understand that I understand where my core values are, what they are, and what I'm bringing to the table. I know my strengths, I know my passions. All right. And letting them shine in everything that I do. And that's the way that you need to start thinking. Okay, what are you passionate about? What are your strengths? Do a SWOT analysis. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and those threats. Think about where your personal brand is, how you're showing up. Do a SWOT analysis, because all I know is when you're authentic and true to yourself, that you create a unique brand. Okay. And I'm creating a unique brand through this without doing a lot of extra work. This stuff comes easily to me. Even though I had no clue about how to run a business, I'm still learning every single day. I'm reaching out and I am really connecting to people where my message is resonating with others. Do you have a message? What is your message? Is it consistent? Are you showing confidently in it? Are you just, coming on one day and saying, hey, this is what I do, and then disappearing? No, we need to see you. Okay. This is a way for you to be inspired even more, to put your story out there. You've got to share your story. What is your story? Where are you going to start your story? Are you going to start it from the very beginning? How many stories do you have? Which one really resonates with which audience? Yes, this is a lot of thinking. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, but you need to be able to share your journey, part of your journey, some of your journey to the right audiences, your challenges, your victories. All right. And your story is uniquely yours and it can inspire others. So when I retired, I knew I wanted to share my story. I got challenged to share my story. I wrote my first book here. It's called Slay to Success. And it is about some of the experiences I had in my military career. Also, it describes what the word slay and what it entirely means. And I go deep into the SLA and the why, because I knew if I did not share my story, especially right at the cusp of when I retired, I might forget some things. I have had some and that's, I don't know if it's amnesia, y'all, but when you are in a stressful situation, or if you're in a stressful job, sometimes you have memory loss. So I wanted to share what I still knew and be able to put it out to the world. Yes, was it scary? Yes, because you don't know what people are going to say and how they're going to receive it. Are there errors in the books? Absolutely. Why? Because I am human. All right. And I wanted to see people, want people to see, even though I was able to achieve a certain level in the military, I am still a human being, and I am still a work in progress. So you have to really embrace your authenticity. All right. Align your line with your values. You got to make decisions and take actions that reflect your core values. Period. And end of conversation. All right. We have to be consistent, whether you're online, offline, in the boardroom, closing a deal. All right. Casual meeting. Your authenticity could and should be evident. All right. People should know what they're going to get from you because you have been very intentional. You need to network strategically. Again, I learned this in the military, that I needed to know certain people. Okay. I needed to build a relationship with those people. So when opportunities would come my way, or there was an opportunity for me to step in, I'll tell you, I got a opportunity. I got several opportunities, big opportunities when I was in the military, and I had zero clue. Number one, I was a medic for 10 years, and a medical technician could work anywhere in a clinic. And I was working at different clinics. They were moving me around. One day, the superintendent came to me and says, "Hey, do you want to be an independent duty medical technician?" I called my dad because I didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, "Hey, Dad, they came to me and they said, you have an opportunity for me to be an independent duty medical technician." I have no idea what she's talking about. And he said, "Baby, you go for it." Okay. So I was able to go to um, Jamaica, Curacao, Africa, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. I went to all these different places around the world in this role where it was very difficult. There was a lot of people who had failed out of this program. It was a 12-week program, 3-month program, high intensity training, high level training, medical technician, where you would go out into the field and you provide medical care. I did that for 10 years. All right. Then another opportunity came up. Hey, you know what? We see you as being a great first sergeant. I was minding my business, doing the work in the clinic. I was in another clinic at Nellis Air Force Base in Arizona. And the command chief, who where I was at in my last role, they came to me and said, "Hey, we keep hearing how great you're doing amidst all these challenges you have in the clinic, between personnel and between the operations. We want to know if you're interested in being a first sergeant." It took about a year, and I said, "I guess I'll do that." And I did that for 4 years. Very challenging. But if I hadn't been doing the work and really put myself out there, none of these things would have came to fruition. I was I'm trying to think of the base, Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. And I was sitting in a role at the clinic, and another role came up to work at the base level. And my commander was sitting at a meeting, and she just dropped my name and said, "Hey, I've got a candidate for you." And I ended up working and serving on the inspector general team. And all these things came from me having these connections and building meaningful relationships. And then they went back and they asked for feedback, and they wanted to know, like who is this person? And people were validating for, they were promoting me without me even knowing it, because I understood. Okay, so you need to be networking, and you got to be selective when you're networking. You need to focus quality over quantity. It's not really about how many people you know, it's about who those people are, who inspire you, who those people are that challenge you and they'll have the influence to help you grow. Those are the people that I started to connect with. And I was very genuine. If I didn't like something, people knew I didn't like something. All right. I had some facial expressions, of course, because, I don't have a poker face. And then, I'd have a phrase like, what's going on in here? I was the type of person who would go by the offices, and people did not expect me to come by and see them and just have a genuine conversation. Like, what'd you do this weekend? What'd your family do? How's your son and your daughter doing? Like, really building genuine connections and having a genuine interest and having mutual benefit of that relation. You got to be listening more than you're speaking. I know a lot of times people want to just say something and it's so rude, all right, to be talking over people. You have to be listening more than you speak, and you have to look for ways to offer value to other people. This is how we make a name for ourselves. And then we have to showcase our expertise over and over and over again. And we have to position ourselves as the expert. That involves actively sharing our knowledge, okay, and insights with other people. And here's how we do it. We create content. I was creating content in the military. Okay. When I got to a certain role, which I believe it started when I was a first sergeant, I would send out motivational emails. All right. Like some words of wisdom, some information that could help them, that I knew, that they may not know about, new processes, new policies, new procedures. I would send these out via email, and then I would put my own twist on it. I would talk like I use the word y'all a lot, and I would put that into my email, and they knew, like, oh my gosh, here she is. And they would eat it up, and they would actually read them. And that was like a confidence builder for me. And then I started to speak publicly. I don't know how many times, y'all, I'd be sitting in the audience and somebody would just, like, pass me the microphone. Hey, can you share your thoughts about da 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 da? I had all these impromptu opportunities to speak publicly, to let people know. And so now I'm doing this as I'm in my next chapter, and it is increasing my audience, my reach. All right. I now get opportunities to be on platforms where I can build my credibility. All right. These are the ways that we can make a name for ourselves. All right. So as I'm talking, if there's anything that you're wanting to do and you're needing more help and support with, you just need to reach out to me. Okay. And now I'm engaged on social media. All right. LinkedIn. Hey, LinkedIn. I'm in here every day. You know this. All right. I have been showing up every day on LinkedIn for probably, I would say, about a year, every day, because I had no idea the power of LinkedIn until I started meeting people one on one outside of the platform and being connected to people in other parts of the world at any point. All right. So, engaging in social media, sharing our thoughts, engaging in discussions, right? And connecting with other thought leaders. These are the things that I do on a regular basis. And the results of making a name for myself has done three things. One, increase my visibility. All right. Visibility is about being seen and recognized, and it's also about being remembered. Every single time you get an opportunity to be more visible, people will start to take on what you're saying. You have to be able to show up. So, but when you embrace your authenticity, you embrace the best of yourself, all right, and showcase your expertise, you naturally become more visible. That's just what happens. I am an example of that. All right. And your name starts becoming synonymous with your expertise and your value in your field. I know that I bring a lot to the table. I understand. And it's leading to more invitations to speak. it's leading to more invitations to share in writing and publishing, books, and participating in high profile projects. I have been invited in without just, without any, what do you call that? Like pushing. There's not a lot of work per se. My network is helping me out to do that because I continue to show up and I have a strong personal brand. This brand right here. All right. Because I created it and because I believe in it, it makes me the go to person in this niche. All right. So think about what you're doing. You want to be top of mind every single time for people to bring you in and attracting opportunities without you even having to ask or to seek them out. That's how we create, these brands. And more so too, we're expanding our network. Again, I have met so many people through Zoom calls. I have virtual chats all the time. Yesterday, I met two beautiful people, all right? And each one of them gave me opportunity to showcase what I have on their platform. All right, so think about it. How are you expanding your network, collaborating with other people? Are you getting mentorship? Is there somebody that you know that's a few steps ahead of you that can help you and offer you some guidance and support and maybe some new perspectives? And then, as you build your brand and your network, your confidence and your influence grows as well. So think about this. When you are in this high energy and this high vibration, and your confidence and your influence is really growing, you're going to be more willing to take on leadership roles, more leadership positions, and drive initiatives. You're not going to be really caring, all right, because you understand and know where you're at, and you're going to be able to make more decisions and ideas, and they're going to be implemented. They're just not going to be passive. People are actually going to listen to what you have to say. And you're going to be making a positive and progressive professional environment around you. So today, y'all, okay, we talked about making a name for yourself. Do you want to make a name for yourself? Are you making a name for yourself? What are you doing to do that? All right. Understanding that you have to really dig in a little bit deeper. And when someone says, hey, you're really making a name for yourself, take it as a compliment. This is validation that you're doing things right. All right. You're having a pride and achievement. You're having that sense of confidence and empowerment. Appreciate and gratitude for the people that are supporting you around you. You know that it's more responsibility, but you got a commitment and striving for excellence. You see that you are growing and you're looking back at your past successes and where you're at right now and where you want to go. You should have some joy and excitement and waking up every single day and thinking, I want to continue to do this. All right. And so as you're doing that, understand you got to show up as you. All right. There's no one else that you need to be following. And when I say authenticity, it's not just about being yourself, it's being your best self. So, what are the things that you need to do to show up to being your best self? Sharing your story, network with people that you know that have your best interests. Showcase your expertise and let them know. All right. Speak up and say, hey, I want this opportunity. All right. Or just continue to do the work and allow yourself to be engaged in different ways, especially on social media. Use these platforms for the greater good. All right. Put yourself out there and let people know and enhance your confidence. All right. So continue to step in. And last thing, yesterday, my post on LinkedIn was about the connection between competence and confidence. When these two things start happening and they kind of, connect with one another, you'll see that there is so much out there, all right, that you can be a part of. And then you'll start really showing up. All right. So let's step confidently into our unique personal brands. All right. Network with purpose. And these are some strategies, all right? We are creating lasting legacy and inspiring and influencing others. So that was today's discussion, y'all. Making a name for yourself. Make sure, okay, and I didn't put any of my banners up here, but when you come back here, if anybody comes for the replay, make sure you put in your name and where you are streaming in from. All right, so I can give you a shout out. But I thank you so much for those that came here to be with me this morning. So Leslie, Shaylin, thank you so much for hanging out with me on this live. And we will be back here, okay, next Tuesday. All right, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. So keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. I love you all. Thank you so much, Leslie, for the heart. And I will see you all very soon.